Welcome to What a Crock. I'm Celeste Headley, and this is the web series where we test out viral recipes to see A, if they work, and B, if they taste good. For today, this comes from a suggestion from a viewer who wanted us to try out a recipe that really we're seeing everywhere. It's a blooming onion bread. And this one, there's no reason why this recipe won't work. So that's not really what we're testing today. What we're testing is how good it tastes. So the blooming onion bread, as always, I have printed out the recipe. I'm going to make it exactly as the recipe dictates that I do so, and then we will take it up to our taste testers and see what they think about it. So you have to start out by taking a 1 pound loaf of bread, and they use a country style bread in the video online. That's what I'm using also. This is not I wouldn't recommend like a sourdough. That's going to have too strong a flavor. And really they're making these cuts about 1 inch apart. So here you'll see I've cut the bread in a crisscross pattern so that when I pull it like this, it's going to pull apart. The next thing we're supposed to do is stick it on a foil lined plate, which I shall do. The recipe calls to take about a 1/3 cup of melted butter. It says I can add sesame seeds, and of course I do want to add sesame seeds. So I'm just going to mix those together into the melted butter. And then I'm going to take about a 1/2 cup of chopped green onion and mix those in as well. So the first thing we do is we take some cheese. We're going to put the cheese through the cracks. This recipe calls for about 3½ ounces of mozzarella and 3½ ounces of matured cheddar cheese. I'm going to put it in between the cracks in the bread. I'm trying to squeeze as many of the pieces of cheese into the slices of bread as I can. It's not all that easy to make it look pretty, but we're doing what we can. This will all melt eventually, and hopefully we'll get a nice brown crust on it. Okay, so as you can see, we have shoved cheese into every crevice and cranny of this bread that we possibly can. Now what we're supposed to do is put the onion butter mash in here. So I'm going to take a fork. I'm going to kind of shove onion. Okay, now the recipe says pour butter onion mixture into bread cracks, but there is absolutely, if you see this here, that's not going to pour. So we are going to take our fork and we're going to shove it. Our next task is to just cover this all with foil, and the first thing we're going to do is bake it for 15 minutes with the foil covering it. Let me go grab the foil. Okay, I've got my foil here. We're just going to cover this. And because I don't want it to get crusty and burnt on the outside, I'm going to try and create a tight seal here. Okay, that's about as good as it gets. We got our little igloo here. We're going to stick this in the oven for 15 minutes. Okay, the oven's at 350, preheated. We'll stick that in there and wait 15 minutes. Okay, we're going to take this out, but it's not done yet. All we are going to do is pull off the foil so that that dry heat of the oven can get into our bread and hopefully make a crust. We're going to set the timer for 10 minutes, and when this timer goes off, it'll be done. This isn't quite as crusty as I expected it to be. Personally, if this were my recipe, I would probably put it back into the oven under the broiler for just a few seconds. This is ready to be tasted. Okay, so here we are. We're going to test this. This is the blooming onion bread. Jessica, let's start.
It tastes very cheesy and it's got a good amount of flavor on it. I think it'd be a good Super Bowl holiday party, potluck kind of dish to bring. Ellen?
Yeah, I thought it was delicious. I just like the cheese. Well, I'm a big fan of cheese, with the melty cheese, with the onion and the seasonings. I thought it was delicious.
Can't go wrong when you got bread, cheese, and green healthy stuff to make it good for you.
It's a good mixture of breaking the bread and cutting the cheese.
I do enjoy it. Kind of reminds me of mozzarella sticks and garlic bread a little bit. It'd be like a nice alternative, but I love it. Really do.
Okay, good. So we have actually a unanimous opinion. We actually have a winner out of the viral recipes. If you are thinking about trying the blooming onion bread, we say go for it.
This is a GPB original production.